just there. I'm sure you've already learned that I'm a super passionate human being about anything that I do. And I was kind of lucky and unlucky for the first month and a bit of my walk to be isolated from any sort of media. I definitely, so even though I'm using social media to spread my message, I definitely weekly or bi-weekly try to tell people you need screen time off, be it the box on the wall that everyone believes is God, or believe it, what we're talking on right now, because it conditions us in a way that we don't realize until it's too late. Even to the point of, like, you know, people constantly ask me about border crossings. Am I going to have issues? I'm like, come on, guys. They've never said that they've closed Queensland off to New South Wales. They closed New South Wales off to Queensland. And I only mention that because border crossings and not being able to do this, not being able to that they lose the thought. And actually, it's like when someone says something to you, you only listen to what you want to hear or what you're conditioned to hear. So there's never been an issue to go,
we missed a big bit of that. It cut out, Matt. Oh, we lost your sound. Hey, Matt, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
We didn't hear a thing. No, he's still
gold.
talking.
This is gold.
Hey, Matt, can you hear us?
This is going in the blooper reel.
We can't hear anything. No, oh my God.
Oh my gosh, and he doesn't even know.
Do you want to just stop the recording and we'll
5 minutes later.
Spit out quickly. So, yeah, the whole crossing the border, people are so conditioned from what they see on the media, on their phones all the time, that they actually forget to look at the facts that are being delivered. So anyway, there's no problem me crossing from Queensland to New South Wales. It's only going back the other way. So when it comes time for me to go home, there's some decisions I have to make, and there is some decisions that are going to be hard for me, but regardless, because I don't like being told what to do. I don't think anyone really likes being told what to do, especially when there's an enforcement level like Mel was talking about before. Like, being locked down for that long is, you may as well be in a jail cell. And short of that, I reckon they've got it better off than most people. So I could go on a rant. I get very passionate. It'll probably work myself up to a boiling point. So I'm just going to tell you about my walk. So I'm 2,032 Ks into my walk. I've just faced my first bout of adversity on the walk, real adversity. So this morning I started walking at 1 a.m. in the morning because I was going to meet Ling here, who I met yesterday, for breakfast. It turns out that about 4 hours into the walk this morning, it felt like someone had a knife and it was jamming it into my left shin. I've been dealing with a little bit of a shin splint, which I thought maybe might have been compartment syndrome, which is pretty heavy if anyone knows what that is. It usually creates necrotizing tissue, blood stops flowing to the area. So that, I did a little bit of research and I wasn't getting any of the symptoms of that, but I thought about it. Then I also thought about microfractures and breaks. So lovely Ling here has actually, instead of popping in, Ling, for a sec, you need some recognition for this lovely Ling here. She's from Taiwan.
Hey, Troy.
Hey, how are you guys?
So
hey, hang on.
she's an amazing human.
Let me just introduce
Troy
right, from Perth, Western Australia. Hey, Troy, just join in the conversation. We're talking to Matt, who's walking down the east coast of Australia. He's in the middle of a story, so hang in there. We'll get to you in a sec, Troy, but welcome on board.
No worries at all. My apologies, guys.
That's all right. No sweat,
all
mate.
good, Troy. How you going, brother?
Good, mate.
Hey, looks like Ned Kelly, right?
Hey?
Well,
he looks Ned Kelly. I love it. Hey, Matt, just jump in. Can you introduce your friend again? Because we missed her a bit, but we'd love her to introduce herself again.
are you sorry, but Ling?
Yeah.
Yep. So we've got the lovely Ling here. So
Hi there.
Hey.
So So I met Ling yesterday. Ling's traveling around Australia. She's from Taiwan. Pulled over, like many of the chats I've had on this journey. She had a little bit of adversity herself, so she's got a cooling problem with her car. Me being a mechanic, had a squiz. I thought I don't want her to have any issues with going to a mechanic, being a female, being not from this country. I didn't want to see her get fleeced. So I used the power of my social media, found the mechanics. They just messaged me before, actually. They've had a look at it. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. So this morning, the journey was going to take me so I could have breakfast with her because we had an amazing chat and I wanted to make sure she got a car sorted out. About 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning, I started to get real bad stabbing pains in my shin. So I've been dealing with a possible shin splint. So I've just gone to Rockhampton Hospital, which is central Queensland. If anyone doesn't know, it's probably about 450, 500 kilometres north of Brisbane itself. The doctor gave me all clear for breaks, and we can't see microfractures that need an MRI, but he said he thinks it's just the tendon that might be a bit inflamed because I've been doing some psycho distances. I did 8 marathons to come into Mackay, so I did, and more than a marathon, I did 55, 56, 78, 44, wow. 42, all in a row of 8 days. So I've been pushing my body to the limits and doing that for a reason, to show people that you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. But at the same time, I've now had to back it off and I'm going to have to rest till Tuesday so this gets better because my ankle swelled up so I couldn't even see my ankle bones. It looked like I'd broken my ankle. That's, if anyone's ever busted something before, you get a lot of inflammation. The inflammation has gone down a little bit now. It's still sort of present. But so the fact that I've got myself so strong and so healthy and the ability to do this walk, because 3 years ago, the person that I was on the bottle, taking pharmaceuticals to go to sleep, worrying about someone else's well-being rather than my own. And through that, got myself into a deep, dark hole. So now I've got this adversity. I'm like, oh, well, what do we do to fix this problem? So I've got to have a rest. I'm not going to let it beat me or bother me. I will finish this walk. I even mentioned to them at the hospital if it was bad. I said, how much is it for a pair of crutches? They said they'd give it to you because I will finish this walk regardless. I don't care if I have to do it in a wheelchair or on crutches. This walk will be finished because when I start something, I finish it. And I really want to show people that I'm a normal, everyday human being by telling people this, that they know I'm not superhuman. And regardless of the adversity and the obstacles that you get in your way, there should be nothing that can stop you. I seen a video clip the other day which inspired me further. Of anyone knows about Papua New Guinea and the Kokoda track, it's one of the most brutal tracks that there is in the world to cross. It's muddy, it's highly tropical. And I was watching veterans that have become amputees from IEDs and, war in general, and they're doing it on crutches. And then there's a story of a guy that did the whole Kokoda Trail on his hands because he has no legs. Wow. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And I forgive the bloke for not being able to quote his name right now because I haven't slept since, I only had 4 hours sleep before I started at 1 a.m. this morning. But you've also got to know when you can pull your body up. So if you're trying to get yourself healthy and better, you can push every day, but some days you've not got to take backward steps, but just have a rest, reset, maybe go do something that's off the cuff of what you're doing, and then step back into the journey and head it again until you find yourself where you want. I really don't know the answer. Can I
just jump in there what you said? Just to say what Mel was saying before and about, what they're dealing with in Melbourne, and maybe some people are working, may have a side income, maybe they don't. But what you just said is what's relevant to, like Mel was saying, something just got to pull back, like reach out to someone else, maybe call someone, have a chat or whatever. Just pull back. Don't let the circumstances take you down that hole. And what you just said is relevant to what Mel said, but also that the universe, that beautiful lady into your life where you helped her out, and now she may be able to help you out, like drive you around to the hospital, whatever. But it's just awesome.
Well, she did. She came 4:30 this morning. She come and pick me up and drove me to the hospital and waited there for a bit until she needed to take her car to the mechanic. I only just met her yesterday, and
that's great.
When I say things, I want people to understand that I'm not genderficating anything, but to be a foreign female traveller in this country or in any country, And the story she's already told me of her travels, to pull up and say hello to me and just treat me like another human being without the fear of me being whatever, because I hadn't introduced her to what I was doing at the stage when she pulled up. And then I told her, and we sat there for 2 hours yesterday just having a nice little chat because I was about to pull up and rest. So
perfect universal bus stop, mate. Perfect universal bus stop.
I'd really like to see that if you could treat humans with less, I can't think of the word, contempt before we even get to know them. I understand that especially females have to protect themselves against males that may look like me.
Yeah.
but like, we treat people with contempt before we get to know them. And I learned this with security. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's such a cliched saying, but it's so true. In the way someone looks and the person that they turn out to be, you're usually totally wrong when you're treating someone with that first impression sort of thing.
That filtered
and if we can change those sorts, and if we can change those sorts of things, the world starts to become a better place. Just to quickly flip back, and I know we haven't got time, and I'll speak as quick as I can, but with Mel down there at the moment and all my other friends and loved ones that are in Melbourne at the moment dealing with what they're dealing with, there's if you can read a story of like stories like Gandhi or stories like Nelson Mandela or stories of the hurricane. So Nelson Mandela and the hurricane were both locked up, not to their own fault, but both the hurricane and both Nelson Mandela, they were locked up, but they chose not to be locked up in their mind. Now, I know that's not an ability that everyone can get, but it's an ability you can definitely develop from reading some Stoic philosophy and realizing that you control your own happiness. Now, I haven't said it in a while, and this chat has inspired me to get back on a live and just ask my Melbourne peeps how they're going, because I didn't even realize they'd gone into another lockdown like they had, because I'm not watching media. Social media, I kind of flick past it. Not because I don't want to believe that it's happening, but the agenda that I'm on is all about positivity. So I was promoting and trying to get people to, as silly as it sounds, do laps of your house, get your kids out, do laps of your house. If you've got little ones, a fella or a female can lay down on the ground and use them like a dumbbell that the kid enjoys, it has fun. Drop down and do some push-ups. If you can only do one push-up, do one. Do two tomorrow. Set yourself goals, because it is like being in jail. And there's guys that survive jail by not being imprisoned in the mind. I think that is so goddamn important.
Well, Matt, there's just to jump in. There's a guy here in LA who does a podcast, Dan Bongino. He's pretty outspoken, right? But he did a little thing on Australia a while ago, and he said, I don't know. He's still got a few friends who are in jail. He said, I think they had a bit more freedom, like in a humorous sort of way. But you just keep mentioning it.
Yeah, it's true.
You got to keep your mental thing. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but as kids we used to play brandy. Like you chase someone around the house with a ball and you throw it at them, mate. I reckon get some anger out and start chasing the parents around the house with a ball, mate. Like stinging them with the tennis ball.
Water balloons.
And then you have to renovate the house afterwards.
Yeah. Hey Mel, is it time for you to have to go? Because we've got Troy on now, so he can sort of tag with you, and you can head off. You and Troy know each other, so you can tag match and head off. And thank you for your input.
Thanks so much, guys. And Matt, such an inspiring story. So I look forward to following it and keep doing what you're doing and spreading that kindness and compassion to all the strangers that you meet, because that's awesome.
Thank you so much, Mel. And I look forward to looking into what you do now as well, because obviously, as you understand, me being on the road, it's hard to look on the socials and keep up. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it very much.
Guys. Corey, I'll hand it over.
See you, mate.
Thank you.
And take care. And Matt, I'm going to introduce you to Troy.